Go ahead and do this. All right, coming back. We are live back again, trying out this new Restream software. I appreciate you being patient. Let's go ahead and get the show started. So now that I know how this thing works, again, it's expansion during these times, right? What are you focusing on? Awesome. Let's get this thing started. I am live. Cool. Well, that was definitely interesting. Very interesting to see what happens when you're doing these types of stuff. Let me see. Cool. I got that live. We are live all over the place, streaming all across the world, coming to you in the Facebooks, in the Instagrams, in the Twitters, by Periscope, in the LinkedIn. I didn't even know you could live stream on LinkedIn. But here we are in these times of everything that is going on in the world. A lot of people are contracting. A lot of people are afraid. A lot of people are freaking out. They don't know what to do. They don't know what the next steps are. And it's not your fault, right? That's the reality. It's not your fault. We've been accustomed to this fear mentality, okay? But the good thing is that you're here on Earth. You as a human species, we are a resilient species. We figure these things out and we move forward with it. Again, I'm not a medical doctor based on all the medical advice that is going out there. If you are sick, even if you don't think that you're sick, sure, try to social distance, try to do the right thing. Let's stop the spread of this virus as it goes on. The good thing is, if you're at home, if you're in your office, if you're isolated, you can still work, okay? No matter what it is that you got going on, you can still bring your message to the world. You can still make improvements. You can still work, okay? Now, yesterday I came on live and I was discussing about what people are going to do, right? A lot of people right now are going to get bored. They're not going to know what to listen to. They're going to get tired of watching the Netflix. They're going to get tired of watching the Instagram. They're going to get tired of babysitting their kids, homeschooling, reading the same stuff, watching the news and seeing again this whole new thing about the coronavirus. They're going to get tired. And guess what? When you get tired, personally, when I've gotten tired, there's two things that you could do. So if this is the time frame, okay, you can either set your eyes, let's see, I'm going to put my architecture drawing skills, to look back in time or look future into time. And why does that happen? Because right now, whatever you got going on, after 2 weeks of being stuck at home or in the office or wherever it is that you're quarantined or not doing anything, or if you're busy with your life, great. Whatever it is that you're doing, you're probably losing your mind. So after a few days, you start looking back into time, into the good things, into the bad things or whatever, or you start looking forward into time and saying, hey, this thing will pass. I can't wait to get out of here, go back to work, go back to things. But in the present, what you're actually doing is reflecting. You're reflecting every single day on what your life consists of. And you're like, how did we get into this situation? I have nothing to do with this coronavirus thing, and still I'm being affected by it. We are all being affected by it, but it's what we do with the situation that we have in order to move forward. So, as I mentioned, today is primarily a planning session for us together. We are going to figure out how to expand during these times, okay? And why expand? What's going to happen is, in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, however long this takes, people are going to figure out, hey, there's some issues that are unresolved, whether it's business related, personal finances, personal matters, whatever, there's unresolved issues. And once things get back to normal, they're going to have those issues that are top of mind. The biggest mistake that a lot of individuals, myself included, might commit is that we might forget about what it is that we do, right? And people are going to forget about what it is that we do. So the best thing that you can do right now in the middle of all this crisis is still provide value, okay? Now, how do you provide value? I don't care what it is that you're doing out there. Let's say you're a delivery person, or you're a package handler, or you're working some sort of construction job, or maybe you're an office employee, you're a team leader, you're a business owner, you're a multi-billionaire or whatever. The best way to provide value in these times is sharing your message. Not only sharing your message, but also sharing what you're learning from these events and everything that has happened. So I haven't gone and done a full study because a lot of people have done so already. And personally, I'm not that interested in it, but maybe this is something that you could take advantage of. A lot of people are actually posting information regarding these viruses and what viruses have to do with us as human beings and how we've gotten through them over time. You know, my wife and I, we were talking about this actually the other day on how our immune systems are becoming weaker. So what is it that we need to do in order to kind of stabilize, improve our immune system? So that has been the focus, right? How do we increase our immune system, okay, in order to battle this virus and on other viruses that continue to happen? At the same time, we're looking in business and saying, hey, you know, it's great that you know, we have opportunities that are coming up to work from home, to wherever, but we've had these opportunities for years. Let's get serious about sharing the message, because it's at times like this that people should feel safe in terms of their finances. That's kind of, you know, a lot of people, sure, health is a priority, but a lot of people are going to get hurt over the next 2 to 3 weeks because their jobs are going to get cut. They're not going to get that consistent payroll. There are a lot of businesses out there just naturally because of what's happening. It's no fault of the business. Again, if you're working for someone and they can't give you work, please understand that it's not their fault, okay? Nobody prepares for situations like this. Now, if you have the opportunity to work from home and provide value from home, I'm going to show you how you can do that today. And this is independent. Again, I come from a construction world, so I know what it's like to be out in the field 10 hours a day. I come from the business world, so I know what it's like to manage employees, pay insurance, pay the subcontractors, pay the materials, and not have any money left over. I come from the real estate world, where I know what it's like buying properties, not collecting rent because you're dealing with evictions. Same thing, being a tenant and your landlord might not be taking care of things right away. So I'm on both sides, okay? I try to look at things from the outside and say, okay, what is the point of view from X? What is the point of view from Y? What is the problem between X and Y? If that's the problem, let's find a solution that makes X happy, that makes Y happy. Let's work towards that solution, okay? We are a solution-driven species, okay? We are here to survive. And because of that, I want to bring this message on how to expand during hard times. So let's get into it. Again, we don't know what's going to happen, but let's just say the next 3 to 4 weeks, things are going to be different, okay? So 3 to 4 weeks equates to 21 to 28 days. So there's a lot of things. 21 days, 28 days is a lot of time. If you haven't checked it out, I actually have a 21-day challenge, completely free, 21dayind.com. You can go ahead and check that out. But 21 to 28 days allows you to do a lot. If you have the ability to still work from home or do whatever it is that you're doing, that's great. Now, if you don't have the ability, this is the perfect time, because you're going to have 21 to 28 days to really evaluate and say, where do I stand? If this happens again, if there's other crises, for example, natural disasters, everything from snowstorms to hurricanes to tornadoes to tsunamis, the global earth crisis, global warming, and everything else that's probably pushing the waters to rise, and all of this thing is going to happen. If you live close to the coast, when these things occur, how are you prepared to handle that, right? And right now, I can't see the camera that I'm looking at, but I see that there's a big sticker that I carry in back of it that says no negativity, okay? No negativity is the attitude that you need to carry with you at those times, because guess what? When you look back in history, things like this have happened, okay? And we've dealt with them. Now, the question is, what have we done to go forward? So the question is, in the next 21 to 28 days, when you're reflecting, and if you're being hurt by, all all of us are being affected in a financial way. No matter how you look at it, every single one of us are being affected. Now, the thing is that some individuals are affected less because they have systems in place, and also because they have those opportunities to be able to work kind of a remote lifestyle, work from home lifestyle, work from a laptop, work from a cell phone, wherever it is you are. We live in the digital information age, okay? We still need people in order to go and do things, but more and more there are opportunities that are available to do something different, right? To do something that involves technology, to use technology, right? And this, in the next 21 to 28 days, this is where you could really take the power in your hands and go ahead and dominate that. Let me get a sip of water since I'm going here. Let me just pop back in and make sure that we are rolling here. This is going well. You get a sip. Cool. Looks like we're still going there. Make sure you drink plenty of water. I had mentioned this in a previous thing that I did, but go and check out newstart.com. Newstart.com. This was actually done by the Adventist, Seventh-day Adventist Church, which I'm a member of, and pretty much it's an acronym on how to fight viruses in general. N stands for nutrition, E stands for exercise, W is for water, S is for sunlight, T is for temperance, A is for air, R is for, geez, I should remember all this stuff. I can't remember what R is right now off the top of my head. And then the last T is for trust. Trust in God. Trust in that He created us in His image, and we're humans, that we can fight off these viruses, and we're going to get through it. Trust your immune system and build up your immune system by your nutrition and exercise. You know, one of the funny things is, I previous to this, I've been studying a lot about intermittent fasting and fasting in general. After 3 days of fasting, so no food intake at all, actually your body starts to increase your HGH levels, which is your human growth hormone. So one of the things that I've been thinking about is, if I start to experience some of these systems, I'm actually going to probably do a 7-day fast, which is no consuming food at all. Again, I don't know your situation, especially if you're diabetic or if you're dealing with that. You don't want to do these type of fasts right now at this time, because a lot of things happen with your blood sugars. But again, look into this stuff. This is what you can do in the next 21 to 28 days. Study, figure out, hey, why am I diabetic? What can I do in order to get off these pills and not be diabetic, or turn my situation around, right? So these are the opportunities that you could do. So anyways, newstart.com, go and check that out. There's a few good, what am I trying to say? There's a few good recipes on there. Also just things that they're updating on the coronavirus and other things that are there. So again, we're streaming on 8 different channels right now. We're trying out this platform and seeing how it works. And we continue talking about expansion during hard time. So 3 to 4 weeks, 21 to 28 days. That's a long time. What can you do? I don't know what you're going to do, but definitely for the next 21 days, actually for the next 31 days, not 28, but 31 for me, I am going all in on social media, okay? Like all in, like literally 3 times per day minimum. This is my goal. You don't have to follow this at all. You can set your goal however you want. You could tune into another channel for all that it matters. What it matters is you're in control of your life. Okay, if you're thinking that the government is going to take care of you, well, this is the exact example of how good the government is going to take care of you. Okay, we've seen it from China in the communist world. We've seen it from other countries like Venezuela. We've seen it through history in Cuba and Russia, which I'm Russian myself. And I was actually born in 1985, so I got to live through the last 7 years of communism. And again, although I can't personally say that I experienced any negativity through it, again, you know, I know based on history, we had certain limitations. I remember 1991, the first McDonald's opening up in Moscow, and standing in line for 7 damn hours to try out this hamburger meal that we didn't have, right? So all these things I know. But even in today's society, if you're expecting the government, the United States government, or wherever government you depend on to take care of you, open your eyes. How good are they taking care of you right now? You have to take care of your family, your loved ones, your neighbors, your church, your neighborhood, the community that's around, the state that you live in, the country that you live in, okay? If you're waiting for somebody else to take care of you, you're going to wait for a damn long time, right? So take matters into your own hand. I agree, there are things that you can't do at this moment because they're out of your control, but there are things that you can do. So let's get into the whole thing. So for me personally, the next 31 days, I'm going all in on social media. Why? Because right now, if you're watching this on social media. Somebody else is probably going to get tired of this coronavirus. They're going to get tired of Netflix. They're going to watch YouTube. They're going to go on the Facebook. They're going to go on the Instagram. They're going to look for things to do. We're a human species. The thing that combines us as humans, we want to know what other humans are doing. It's natural, right? So I'm going to want to know what my good friend is doing in Russia, what my other friends are doing in the Dominican Republic, what my friends are doing in Massachusetts, my friend in California, X, Y, and Z, right? We want to see what people are up to. So guess what? This is the perfect opportunity for you to take advantage of that. Now, going back, independently of what you work, you have a skill, you have a trait. And because we are in the information age, believe it or not, you have another source of income which you probably have not tapped into, and that is sharing information. Now, when you share information, that information can be something that you learn personally through experience. That information can be something that you learned from a book, and definitely if you learned it from someone, make sure you reference that individual because again, don't plagiarize, don't try to say that you came up with this bright idea. Because guess what? There's nothing new on this planet. Everything that's ever existed has probably, in some sort of way, has existed in the past. Somebody else has probably said it. You learned it from hearsay, from whatever. If you don't know the source, that's fine. Just say, hey, I remember that I read this somewhere. I can't remember the source, but this is what was said. Just be yourself. The things that you experience, that is what you have proprietary to you. So if you have a quote, if you have something that came out of that experience, sure, that's yours. But if you have something that you learned, share it with the world because, we love to learn. The human brain likes to learn, especially when it's learning about itself. The human brain is very selfish. So in the next 3 to 4 weeks, people are tuning into the social media. So if let's say you're a truck driver or you're a construction worker and you're very good in comedy, utilize these platforms, the Facebook Live, the YouTube, the Instagram. Start the social media and start doing comedy in your free time. Whatever it is, if it's 5 minutes per day that you have, guess what? If for the next 21 days, if you come on for 5 minutes every single day, you'll create 21 pieces of content. That's 21 more pieces of information that you've put out there that you have ever in the past. So it's utilizing your time effectively. All of us are going to have the same amount of time. 21 days times 24 hours or 28 days times 24 hours, whatever it is, we all have the same exact time. It's how we utilize that time, okay? So step number 1 is understanding that people's eyes are on social media. They are there. Yes, there are people that are watching the news, and guess what? I've watched some of the news myself. And when I tune into the news for 15 to 20 minutes, companies like Pfizer, which is, guess what, a pharmaceutical company that is working on a drug for this coronavirus, they're advertising. Companies like Jeep that I've seen on there, okay, they're advertising. Companies like Acura that is selling cars, they're advertising. Companies like T-Mobile, they are advertising. So guess what? They are putting the information that they have in front of where the people's eyes are. So just like people are tuning into news, I know people are watching this social media. And forget about getting so deep and thinking, hey, nobody's watching this thing. Who cares, right? Somebody is going to watch it at some time. Again, the best example, I don't remember if it was Gary Vee who said it or Tai Lopez, but social media content is real estate on the web. So again, if you have the World Wide Web, this is a little World Wide Web, right? your piece of content that you put out there, these are all the things that you have floating on there. If you have nothing floating on this World Wide Web, you don't exist in today's day and age of technology. You have to go where the people's eyes are. So hopefully we got that out of the way. So the next question is, what do you post on? And this is probably the most difficult part of this exercise, because guess what? You have to figure out what it is that you are going to talk about. It's somewhat easy. Maybe you can look into your skills, okay? What existing skills do you have? You can look into your knowledge, okay? What have you learned through your life, whether it's through somebody else or whatever, what have you learned, right? You can look through your work. What is it that you do for work? And this is where I think your biggest opportunities lie right here, right? So with your experience, what are the opportunities, okay? What are the opportunities? For example, when I was in the construction industry, some of the opportunities that I personally wish I would have taken advantage of is teaching the workers, the people that were actually physically doing the work, how to sell our products and services. So guess what? If you are a construction worker, you have an opportunity to say, hey, guess what? I'm out on site every single day. I'm installing a roof, or I'm installing the flooring, or I'm installing something. I can develop a skill because I know how it's done, where I can go and talk with more customers, people that I don't necessarily know, tell them that I work for this company doing X, Y, and Z, and that we could do that. But then you could work out some sort of a compensation, a commission structure with your boss, saying, hey, you know, if I bring you a tile job or whatever, will you pay me whatever, $500 as a commission for whatever it gives? And then I'm sure that that's a start to that thing. Trust me, if at the time that I had my construction company, if I had the workers come to me and say, hey, I have someone that's interested on building a deck, and you know it's probably going to cost about $10,000. If I give you their information and we do the job, will you pay me $500? I would have paid them $1,000, right? A $10,000 job, and we're profiting about 30 to 35%, $3,500, and I have to pay him $1,000. Let's keep on doing those. If those workers can come and bring business to the company, then guess what? I free up some of my time, I free up some of those salesmen, and we grow as a team. We grow as a company. That's why in the next 21 to 31 days, what is your goal? What is your focus? So again, this is what you can start to think that you're going to talk about. Then you need to think about delivery of message, okay? Delivery of message. And again, this is a much deeper training. I'm going very, very superficial on this stuff, but just think about it. Anytime, the easiest way for you to do a message, and I'm going to give you these 3 steps. This can apply in any business that you're in. This can apply in anything that you're doing, okay? Step number 1, and I learned this from Frank Kern. So again, I want to reference the people that I learned them from, right? Tell the people what you're going to talk about. What you're going to talk about. Step number 2, talk about that thing. Step number 3, repeat what you talked about again. So, for example, this post right here, this video that you're watching, today we are coming on to talk about expanding during hard times. I'm talking about expanding during hard times. When I finish this message, I just talked about expanding during hard times. So if you want more information, go and rewatch some of these things. Okay? I know it's stupid, simple, easy, whatever term you want to use, but that is the way that we learn, okay? I don't remember if it was Benjamin Franklin or, again, I try to read a lot or somebody else that said it, but we are learning creatures and we learn through repetitions over time. The more we repeat something, the more drilled into it is into us. Just like when you were probably going to school and you're learning the multiplication table, you're probably doing 1 times 1, 1 times 2, 1 times 3, 2 times 2, 2 times 3, right? And then after you repeat it a bajillion number of times, then you're like, okay, 9 times 7 is whatever, 63, right? 9 times 9 is 81. And then you start to give out these numbers. You know, the 10s are these, 10 times 10 is 100, 10 times 11, 110. You just add the 0 then. But anyways, you do it through repetition. So the simple way of delivering your message is tell the people what you're going to talk about that thing, and then repeat what you talked about, okay? So hopefully this helps you with that. So again, this is what you're going to be discussing. This is, how you're going to be delivering the message. Now, I'm going to erase this stuff. Again, if you're just tuning in, especially if you're on Instagram, I'm on Instagram Live. You could go in and click the link in the bio. That will take you to my YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel there, you can watch the full replay on this. So the IGs, go and check it out there. All right, so we've discussed about what you can talk about. The thing is, the hardest part is finding your passion. I'm still trying to figure out. So for example, for myself, I got 3 things that I got going on right now. One is real estate, right? Real estate. Okay. 2 is, that I'm passionate about, is credit repair. 3 is work from home business. All right, so let me explain to you how this works. Through my experience, and again, if you've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you could probably find out and say, hey, there comes a point in life where you realize that working for a job or working at a job at an hourly rate or at a salary, you have a ceiling, you have a cap of what's going to happen. So what happened to me was in 2011, I asked my boss, at that time I was working as a Civil Engineer 3 for the state of Massachusetts, which some people say that it's a dream job. I had the retirement all set up, health insurance, all that stuff. I asked my boss how much he made, and he had been working for the state for 35 years. That's right, 35 years. So at the time, I was making roughly about $50,000, and then I worked some overtime doing plowing and snow and ice. That was lots of fun, and that brought me up to like $65,000. So his base salary was actually $115,000, and he worked overtime in order to bring up his salary to about $135,000. Now again, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but the issue was that every day he had to show up at 8 o'clock in the morning at the office. He couldn't leave before 5 p.m. He was changing his time to get the money, and he had to work there 35 years to get to that point. That made me quickly realize that the sacrifice that I needed to do to get to that level was sacrifice 35 years of getting up 8 o'clock in the morning, getting to work at 8 o'clock in the morning and leaving at 5 p.m. in order to achieve that same thing. Personally, from what I had learned already, that wasn't starting to look like the best path. So that is why, I continue to do real estate. And personally, I love real estate because I see how it transforms people, right? How it transforms neighborhoods, how it transforms environment. I have a whole playlist on my YouTube channel about how to buy multifamily income-producing properties with an FHA loans. So this is 2 to 4 units using FHA loans, and you live in one of those units. So my wife and I, we personally experienced where we bought a property, we lived in it. A lot of the tenants that were paying at that time were actually paying for the mortgage, and we pretty much didn't have to put any money out of our pocket in order to keep this property, to the point where we actually, the deposit that we gave to the bank, including the closing costs and all that stuff, we actually got that money back within a period of about, I think it was 9 to 10 months or so. So, a lot of people, when they start to learn about finances, they don't look at cash flow. They just look at, okay, I work 20 hours a week, I get paid, 40 hours a week, I get paid $20 an hour, that's $800. They take away taxes, I got $550 left, that's $2,200 a month. I pay $1,400 in rent. We go to the movies once or twice, whatever, and the next time we do it all over again. And the thing just keeps on going years after years after years after years. And you keep on doing the same exact thing, and you're like, is this all that there is to life? God, please tell me that you have something better. Yes, there is something better, okay? And this is why I do the next two things. Because the credit repair situation goes in line with personal finances. Now, if you don't know already, here in the United States, we live on a credit-based society. So, again, everyone here needs credit. You leverage credit. I don't care if you don't use credit. When you go to buy a house, they pull up your credit. When you go to apply for car insurance, they go and pull your credit. When you go and apply for citizenship, they're pulling your credit. When you're moving into an apartment, they're pulling your credit. If you're going to get a job in the financial services industry, like a bank or something else, they're pulling your credit. So pretty much everything has to do with your credit. But the thing is that a lot of people don't understand how credit works. So I'm passionate about this industry because credit connects with personal finances. So I believe if it doesn't matter if you continue to work where you work, to do what you do, you could go ahead and learn about personal finances, get into credit, think, hey, do I really need this life insurance policy? Do I really need this retirement plan? If so, do I understand it? What is a dividend? What's an ETF? What's a 401k? What's a Roth IRA? What's a simple IRA? What are the advantages one over the other? If my employer is matching, how much should I match? So there's a lot of things that people need to learn, right? So again, I'm very passionate about teaching this. So a lot of people, unfortunately, have awful credit. I don't know what other word to use. Below a 600 credit score, over 70% of the population falls in that category. So I'm passionate about, hey, guess what? You can take advantage of the laws, the Fair Credit Reporting Act. You can take advantage of your credit, and you could go ahead, get that repaired, so at least you could refinance your car, get a better interest rate, pay less money monthly on your car. You could refinance your home. You can actually go and now buy a home, or you can go and buy a multifamily property using FHA loans now that you understand finance, all that stuff. Okay? And then the third thing that I'm personally passionate about is the work from home business. Okay? And this is directly tied to the first two because, again, I believe that if individuals control how they earn their income, it gives them more options, especially during times like today. Okay, guess what? In the next 21 to 28 days, I don't want any new customers. I don't want any new representatives working with me. I just want to bring you information. I just want to bring you value. But what I believe is that if in the next 31 days, I push this message out to you and you see it, and we make a connection, and you like what I'm saying, and we speak on the phone, and I figure out, hey, this might work for you. Once things are back into normal, you're going to reflect back on your life, and you've got to say, hey, you know what? This was a good time for me to reflect back and say, this isn't working. The way that I've always been doing things, this isn't working. So I'm going to make a change. And the way that I'm going to make a change is boom. The way I'm going to make a change is boom. The way I'm going to make a change is boom. And the other thing is, as I was going up in the industry and earning more income and doing that, we were able to invest into real estate. And again, going back to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, and the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book, you realize that there's a difference between, assets and liabilities. And for example, real estate, If you're buying a property and it cash flows, it pays you every single month, then you can go ahead and take that cash flow and buy yourself the toy, buy yourself the car, buy yourself another house, pay off some debt, etc. Versus going and taking that money and putting it into a car, and then you're paying every single month. You already paid a deposit, and every single month you're paying, right? Though that's a liability. So once you realize that, a lot of people aren't able to get into real estate because they don't have enough income. So a work from home based business provides the opportunity for people to generate extra income, learn about credit repair and personal finances, and then invest into real estate. This is personally how it works for me. Now, again, if you go back to the beginning of this video where we talked about this message, find out. Maybe you like comedy. Maybe you're a construction worker and you figured out that cutting wood in this manner is a better, faster way of doing it. Maybe you like cooking and you can start to do recipes online, and you can start to do a YouTube channel, and you can put the tools that you're buying out there, and then you can put the links in an Amazon store, and every time that someone buys, you get 2 pennies from that store. Guess what? People have retired just doing that. The best part is, let's say that your living expenses, and now I'm going into a whole different topic, but let's say your living expenses are $10,000 per month, okay? And your income, whether it comes from real estate, whether it comes from your home-based business, whether it comes from your job that you're actually working on, if your income is $12,000 per month, how long can you do this, okay? How long, if you have $12,000 coming in per month and your living expenses are $10,000 per month, how long can you do this? Tell me. Probably indefinitely, right? That's the right answer. But then what happens if this is your job plus your real estate plus your home-based business, HBB, home-based business, baby, HBB, and all of a sudden your job was $6,000, your real estate was $4,000, your home-based business was $2,000, which adds up to $12,000. If you stop working like you did now and this goes away, and now instead of $12,000, you have $6,000. Hopefully you can still see this. You have $6,000. Now all of a sudden, guess what? You have negative $4,000 cash flow. How long? Obviously here, hopefully you were saving or you had some sort of plan. How long can you do that where you're only bringing in $6,000 but you're spending $10,000 a month? Probably not that long. And the reason that happens is, again, because we don't understand personal finances, because we're not taught how to invest into different things, especially like real estate, because we don't have a business, an asset, a tool ourselves, information that we can provide to others that then we can monetize on. And I'm not telling you to go out and sell cookie recipes and you're going to become the next Aunt Jemima or whatever. Maybe you are. Maybe your product is so good and you are, but you won't know until you try, okay? So this example, we talked about, what things you're going to do. So now that we understand what it is that are, the message that we're going to bring, how long we're going to do it, where we're going to do it, all that stuff, whatever, it's up to you to figure it out. Get something that you like and talk about that. So now we can talk about the next 21 to 28 days. And it's very simple, okay? For me, personally, I do 31 days, 3 times per day. That is 93 content. So 3 times per day. So 3 times per day, I will be coming onto this platform live, Instagram live, and I will be talking about the things that I just told you about that I will be talking about, except of one day. On Saturdays, we're going to do Bible study together. Guess what? On Saturdays, I can't go to church, especially if the church closes down and we're not doing that. So what better way for me to learn the Bible and share God's Word I'm doing it on Saturdays anyways at church. Why don't I do it here? Okay. So on Saturdays, 3 times per day, we're going to be doing Bible study together. Guess what? If you don't like to tune in, you don't have to watch it. Simple as that. If you really like how I talk about real estate, watch my real estate stuff. If you really like how I talk about credit repair, watch my credit repair stuff. If you really like how I talk about home-based business, watch my home-based business stuff. If you don't like me talking about the Bible, don't watch it. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean I'm going to stop talking about it. This is my content. I can do whatever I want with it, and you can watch whatever the hell that you want, okay? Simple as that. But that's my plan. You know, for the next 31 days, 3 times a day, I bring content to you. Now, a little tip is you could use platforms like this. You can use a video editor. You can work with a team. You can do whatever you want, and then you can break up these pieces of content to then repost. So then these 93 live contents that are delivered can probably become an infinite amount. You know, at least you could probably get at least 5 things out of each one of them. So for example, out of this video, I can cut out a 10-second portion where I'm talking about personal finances. I can bring up a quote. I can do a little picture thing. So there's a lot of things that can be repurposed in order to do this. But again, that's a whole other thing. So I know that here we came on to plan. So hopefully the first thing, again, that we talked about, step number 1 is finding out, you know, what is it that you're going to talk about? So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? So that is step number 1, okay? Because again, hopefully I don't have to go back and show you why social media matters. That's a whole other. You're watching this on social media. Your friends are watching this on social media. That's why you're putting it on social media. That's why I'm putting it on social media. But step number 1 is figure out what you are talking about, okay? Step number 2 is figure out your audience, okay? So, for example, this content that is specific for real estate, credit, or home-based business, in the real estate world, anyone that watches this video can say, hey, you know, Maxim has a pretty good idea of doing 3 lives per day. I'm going to go ahead and do this. So it's a suggestion to that person to go and create 3 videos per day, right? Somebody in the personal finances can say, hey, Maxim has a pretty good idea. Let me jump on this bandwagon and provide information to people on social media while they're sitting at home. So that way, when they get back to normality, they can hopefully start to turn things around. Let me teach people what I know 3 times per day. Hey, you know what? Someone in the home-based business, a lot of people are at home right now. Let me go ahead and provide information, again, for the home-based business people. I'm going to say this out loud, and I'm going to swear. So if you have kids around you, cover their ears. The home-based business. Don't fucking lie to people, okay? Don't fucking lie to people. That is the first thing. You have a great opportunity in your home-based business, but don't come on sitting on your couch, and no disrespect to you if this applies to you, sitting in your couch in a trailer park saying that this is a business opportunity that you can make millions of dollars when you have not made $500 in the last 3 years in your home-based business. That's rule number 1. Don't fucking lie to your people. It can be done. A home-based business is serious work. Guess what? You go and you work for somebody else 8 to 10 to 12 hours per day. What makes you think that when you operate your own business that you can work for 10 minutes and get millions of dollars coming in? That's delusional, okay? The home-based business industry, don't lie to people, okay? Hopefully I got that out there. But again, you can create things like this. This content for the home-based business is key because the home-based business, when you're delivering your message to the individual you're speaking to, they have to understand what it is that you're saying. A lot of the people You're talking over them because just because you know so much information, you don't know how to relate to them. So by delivering your information in the right way, you can go ahead and improve that. And that way, when they are ready, hopefully 3 weeks from now, they can go ahead and decide to take action with you. But again, don't lie to people. So once you know your audience, a little tip here. So 3, your message. And try to do one topic at a time. So for example, for me, when I posted earlier and I showed you that I talk about real estate, I talk about cash flow, I talk about credit repair, I talk about personal finances, I talk about home-based business, that is like 5 different topics, okay? If I try to do one video explaining all 5 of these or 6 different topics at the same exact time, that is a lot of information for anyone's mind to take in. Plus, we're as human beings, we focus kind of on one thing at a time, right? Squirrel, right? And just like that, 3 seconds later, you lost someone's attention. So by speaking with one topic at a time, that will allow you to say, okay, today we are talking about credit. X, Y, and Z. You talk for 5, 10, 15 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, however long you want, however long you feel comfortable doing it, right? And you deliver the message. And again, when you're delivering the message, number 1, tell the people what you're going to talk about. Number 2, talk about that thing. And number 3, repeat what you just talked about. Simple as that, okay? There's more advanced techniques. Again, you could join your local Toastmasters in order to do that, or you could come and join us online at our Toastmasters meeting in order for you to practice your public speaking and develop your public speaking skills. So again, that's how you grow. In the next 28 days, you're growing. We're growing as a business. We're growing as individuals. We're expanding. We're not sitting back and contracting. And then finally, step number 4. And again, do this at 31. Just go with blindfolders right now. Again, I learned this from Frank Kern and from Grant Cardone. Go with blindfolders right now and just do this, okay? This is the plan of action. Tweak it as you want. Design it as you want. And then step number 4 is measure. And this is probably very important for a couple of things. Number 1, no matter this is for me personally. Actually, let me rephrase this. The reason that you want to measure is because you want to figure out, hey, guess what? I delivered 93 pieces of content because I was going 3 times a day live. And out of my credit videos, I got, 500 views. The real estate stuff got, 1,500 views. And the home-based business got 3 views. Logically, that would probably say, hey, guess what? People are really, really interested in real estate right now. So let me talk more about real estate and let me talk maybe less about the home-based business. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe I get 15,000 views for people that watch the video in the home-based business. I get 1 for real estate and I get 100 for credit repair. So guess what? Home-based business is really, really hot. Let me continue talking about that. That's a good thing to measure, but at the same time, it can be a mistake. And let me explain to you why. For a long time, I was chasing and I was looking at, hey, where are the opportunities? A lot of people are talking about internet marketing, online marketing, this marketing word. Let me get into that, right? Wait, there's this thing right here. A lot of people are talking about real estate investing and all this stuff. Let me get into this. Wait. A lot of people are talking about stocks, bonds, ETFs, trading. Let me get into this. Oh, hold on. Bitcoin is really, really good and is going off the chart. Wait. There's this new thing called Forex, and this is what's going on. Wait. Now, Tony Robbins and D. Graziosi popped up on here, and they're doing this thing with Russell Brunson, with KBB, and selling your knowledge, become a knowledge business broker, and that's all good. Cool. Wait. Russell Brunson just came on. He has this really good book about, and you go crazy, right? You go crazy. So personally for me, what I learned is what I'm going to talk about for the next God-given years, God knows how many, hopefully 50 plus, is going to be real estate, is going to be personal finances, and is going to be home-based business. And no one is going to take me away from those three things, okay? I don't care if you have the newest invention for the coronavirus. I don't have if you have the newest vitamin supplement that makes you superhuman and fly out of space. I don't care if Elon Musk invented the first flying car and there's an opportunity for you come to the market and buy the car at $50,000 and then resell it for $100,000. I don't care. Those are the three things that I personally identify with and that I'm going to talk about until my teeth fall off and I can't go talk about something else. Why? Because I'm passionate about it. I love real estate, okay? I grew up seeing how a dilapidated property that is being lived on by hoarders and people that don't care about it, how somebody can come in, buy that piece of property, renovate it, especially if it's multifamily or if it's an abandoned piece of land or if it's a large mill, a commercial building, somebody can go in, convert it into something else, and make this a viable living source, okay? I saw that. There's real human impact in that. Personal finances, I'm still learning it, okay? And people struggle every day with personal finances because we're not taught. We need more people delivering messages about personal finances. If someone, when they're 10 years old, understands that, hey, for every $10 that you bring in, you need to pay $2 of taxes. That's just how the system works. You need to pay $2 of taxes. Then you need to put away $2 to $4 in order for you to invest into something else. Live on the other $4 that are left over. Trust me, they would be much better off because right now what we're taught is you earn $50,000 a year, you buy a whole bunch of crap, you live on it, you work for 100 years, and then you die, right? That's no way to live life, right? So when you learn about cash flow, it completely changes what you can do with that. So that's my message, right? And again, by measuring, you can evaluate. That's why I kind of say maybe you pick 2 to 3 topics that you talk about, and then you measure and say, hey, you know, the comedy stuff, although it's my passion, only like 2 people watched it, so maybe I'm not that good at comedy. And that gives you room to improve and say, hey, you know, I measured this stuff. Not a lot of people watch my comedy, so let me go find a comedy club that I could join. Let me go find a Toastmasters that I can go and practice my comedy in order to improve my public speaking, in order to deliver my message, and that way more people can watch, right? That makes a lot more sense than you to just keep on talking about it, not seeing why you're not getting famous, if that's your goal, and then saying, hey, this thing doesn't work, I'm going to give up on it altogether. No, measure. By measuring things, it allows you to do that. But do this after 30 days. Because again, a mistake that will happen, like I don't even know how many views this has had so far. Maybe it has 1 view. I don't care. Some people will go in and they say, well, I did this for 2 days and I got 2 people that viewed it, and one of them was my mother, the other one was my grandmother, and this thing doesn't work. Okay? It takes time. Not only is it because of technology, but guess what? A lot of people are watching the news, they're watching this corona thing, they're trying to figure out what's going on in the world, and they're going to get bored. But if you're on there every single day saying your message, and again, it could be multiple messages, but you're on there saying your message, people are going to realize at day 21, at day 25, at day 31, and if you keep on going, there's day 60, day 90, hey, this guy has been talking about real estate for a couple months now. Maybe let me go ask him a question because sounds like he knows what he's talking about, right? So that's the goal. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, all the other places that I don't know about that were live. That's my message for you today. Let's go and rock the next 28 days. People are going to be bored out of their mind. Entertain them with something. Heck, if you read something on the news about the coronavirus, what's your opinion on it? What did you learn about it, right? If you're going back in time and you're reading about history and you're reading about other viruses, or you're reading about, I don't know, Benjamin Franklin, whose autobiography is super interesting. I actually have a video in plan about that. Go and make a video about it. Share what you learned, okay? And my cell phone is going with Instagram, so I can't grab it, but it's grabbing your cell phone hey, what's happening? This is Maxim Cruz. I'm reading the Benjamin Franklin. It doesn't have to be complicated. So let's go ahead and do it. Let's entertain the world with your message. You have a message that you have to deliver. I don't know if this thing is still working, so I'm just talking my butt off, but hopefully it is. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this video. It's now 2 o'clock, so I'm right on time. And I'll see you on here in about 4 hours. I got 2 more videos that I got to do today that I thought about last night. So I'll see you on here in about 4 hours, and then I'll do another one when I'm walking my dogs, probably right around 11 o'clock. So see you on the next video. Maxim Cruz tuning out, and yeah, see you on the next one.